Hey, this is Phil from Race City Retro, and it's a beautiful Saturday today. I can't wait to get started working on the 55 in that garage, but I had to do one thing. I had a honeydew list, and I'm really touched by my wife. This year she said, I need you to put some Halloween decorations up in front of the house. Now, she normally takes care of all the decorations, but this year she let me do it. I want you guys to check out the decorations I put up and let me know, did I do a good job? Put some comments down below and tell me if you like my version of Halloween decorations. Okay, so naturally I'm going to do a little like truck thing. I'm going to do a little, scarecrowy fall Halloweeny thing. There's our little doggy. Hey, doggy. I'm going to put some pumpkins and some mums. And I thought it needed a little more. It wasn't Halloweeny enough. So I put this on the garage. Whoa. How do you like them apples? What do you think? You think she's going to like it? Oh, I think she's going to love it. Maybe I'll tape her reaction. But I like that. But I said, you know what? If I put something cool on the front door, maybe I could keep the trick-or-treaters to a minimum. This way I get more candy to eat. Check out my front door. Okay, you ready? Whoa. You think that's going to keep the trick-or-treaters away? I think so. Just the brave ones will ring that bell, especially in the night with the little spotlight. I took one bulb out too, so it's a little dimmer on the porch, make it even creepier. But did I do good? Honestly, put some comments down below. Let's see if she likes it later on. Maybe I'll get her reaction. Maybe I won't. But let's get in that garage and start working on the 55 Chevy. Cool. All right, guys, I'm all done hanging my Halloween decorations. Now it's time to play. I want to get a couple things accomplished today on this car. If you saw our last video, we went through the engine, made sure it's a good motor. I'm going to stick with this engine until this engine gives me a reason not to stick with it. Everything inside this motor, watch that video. It's immaculate inside. The guy wasn't lying. I got the car from him. He told me it was rebuilt. It's got all signs of being rebuilt, so I'm not too worried about this engine. You'll notice that vintage Say-YN tunnel ram parked up top. No, it's not going on this engine. I just needed a place to park it for now and gaze. It looks so good. But these valve covers will be going on this engine. Nice vintage MTs, aluminum, period perfect. But today, we're not doing engine stuff. What I want to get done today, I want to take the steering wheel off, the steering column out, and the steering box out. I'm going to show you how to do that. 55, 56 are the same. 57, I believe it's the same. I know the 7 takes a shorter column, but I'm thinking the operation is the same. So if you've never done this before, not a huge job. You could run into a couple pitfalls. It's different too. If your car was a factory automatic, it's got a different column in it than a 3 on the tree. These cars never came with floor shifted 4 speeds or 3 speeds. They were either 3-speed on the tree or automatic on the tree. So depending on what column you have, if you have a 3 on the tree car, there's a couple fingers on the bottom of the column that you have to disconnect the rods from before the column will come out. And how these cars work is a pressed shaft that goes into the steering box that the steering column slides on and off of. Let me show you in a little better detail of what we're going to do here today. Okay, there's your Tri-5 steering box. This is a manual steering box. I believe you could get power steering on these cars. It was probably a very rare option. 90% of the ones you see are going to have this same box in it. And basically this box bolts to those 3 bolts that come out the other side. Those are carriage bolts that go into a slot in the frame. The nuts are on the back side of it. And down below, the center link has that cap on the end that comes off that allows you to get the pitman arm out. And I'll show you in detail how we're going to do that. And then inside the car, see, and this is basically the bracket here that's going to hold the column in. It does most of the work. You have 2 bolts on the bottom and you have this bolt through the top. So that's one of the first pieces we're going to remove. These are the fingers I was talking about on the manual transmissions. I believe you have 2 of those. I don't think you have to take these bolts out. I probably will anyway, because it's been a while since I've done one of these. But we'll take a look at pulling those bolts out. And then the column comes out. The center shaft that's pressed into the box here, we're leaving. We're going to take it all out in one piece. Let me show you inside the car. Okay, if you have a nice original car like this is, take a quick look at your speedo. If you have your gear selection here for the Power Glide, you know your car was more than likely an automatic from the factory. If this is solid in chrome, that means your car had a 3 on the tree from the factory. Removing these columns isn't too bad. The main thing is the steering wheel's got to come off, which actually, I don't even think I'm going to need a steering wheel puller. Don't try and pull a wheel off with your hands if it hasn't been off the car. If you can't do this with it, it's pressed. They're on real hard. Guys try and pull these off or kick them off. You're going to get one in your forehead sooner or later because they come off with great force when you rough them up like that. I do have my steering wheel puller ready. That's your standard steering wheel puller. If we need it, I'll show you how it works. It's pretty simple to get a steering wheel off. But we'll pull this center nut off first. Once we get that off, you do have to take this piece off, this chrome lower part of the speedo. And then there's another, we got to disconnect all the wires. I believe there's another 2 bolts under that as well. All right, so let's start with this steering wheel. Let me get this steering wheel off. All right, so is this hand tight? Nope. I actually got to zip that off, and then we'll see if the steering wheel is going to fall off or if I'm going to have to hook that up. Nope. Three-quarter. Nope, somebody tighten that, but the wheel is wobbling all over. Let me grab my impact and we'll give that thing a blast. Okay, Milwaukee, do your job. Okay. Always save steering column nuts. Even if you're not going to reuse the column, a lot of them are fine. Hard to get if you got to replace that on another car. I have like a jar of them. Is this thing loose? Nope. I think it's wiggling because it's got some cracks over there. So let's install the steering wheel puller. Okay, so here's our steering wheel puller. What you're going to do is thread the rod in. There's usually a cap they give you to put over the end to not damage the end what you're pushing on. And you always put the flat side facing out. Okay, that's going to go in the middle. I hope these bolts fit it. Let's see. Nope. All right, so I'm going to have to take the cap off, I believe. Because then we can back this back out. Get our bolts in over here. And this is basically a pulling tool. It's a puller, it would be called. They give you an assortment of bolts with each puller kit usually. I mean, years ago they used to. I bought this thing, I think it's Sears. A million years ago. It's probably taken 1,000 wheels off. All right, let's tighten that baby up. Now these, you can see there's rust in the holes on this thing, but you don't need to make these uber tight. Just get them to hold it down because they're not real deep holes. Okay. Oh, look at that. Me putting that on. Pulled it off. Nice. Boy, that was easy. I knew it was kind of loose. All right, so now that's your turn signal pole. We got the steering wheel out of the way. And like what I said, this center shaft here, that stays to the steering box. We're just taking the outer column itself off, but this is not going to move. Don't try and pull that along with it because this is, you can take them out of the steering boxes, but you got to take the steering boxes apart. A lot of guys try and sawzall these. That's hardened steel, my friend. So if you're going to sawzall it, it may take a while to cut through that stuff. I mean, if you have oxyacetylene, I'm sure with that you can get through it. But let's take a look at what's going on underneath that we have to remove next. These pieces. Okay, so down below, if you'll notice under the Speedo, it's got this slit here because this bottom piece comes off. There's only a little Phillips usually holding these on. Let's see. Take that out. Let me hold this so it don't come crashing down on the camera. There we go. Okay. And now you see, this is your steering column wiring. Okay, this is for all like your turn signals. That's really all it is. Oh, and your horn too, that's right. Let's see if we could even pull this stuff. It's only 70 years old, this wiring, and that's a perfect reason why you rewire a car. What I'm gonna do, I have no use for the steering column, but someone may. So on the other side of these connections, I'm going to cut this right here because we're going to rip all the wiring out of this car. I am not using 70-year-old wiring. And now if this was an automatic car, which it shows that it was, you're going to have another reverse light switch too down here. That's for your reverse lights. But let's snap some wires. Yada-dee. Na-da-dee. Na-da-dee. We want this column to be able to be pulled out, so anything connected to it, we want to set them free. And like I said, all this wiring in this car is going right in the garbage because it's useless. Okay, now if you look under the dash, let me see if this shot shows it. I'm going to move my light. You'll see you have this U-clamp here with a nut and bolt there and a nut and bolt there. Those two you're going to take out next. And let's see, I think they're 7/16, maybe a ½ inch. Yep, ½ inch. Okay, so you have one here. Break it loose a little first. Leave that there, we'll pick those up later. Bag them and tag them. And we have one here. Alright. Column's gonna drop a little just like that. But it's not gonna come out yet, so don't start pulling on it. These rubber isolator pads, which are now crunchy because they're so old, those won't be reused. That's the top piece of the bracket. And save all this stuff because if you change it to another column, you may need that. I'm going to put a tilt column in this car that works with my power steering box I'm putting in this car. Let's go under the other side of the firewall and take off what we have to take off to get this column coming out. Okay, so now out here, you have this top bolt that squeezes this clamp. And then you have two bolts down here which hold the clamp to the firewall of the car. So let's take this top one out first. I don't think I can get a impact in there, so I'm gonna actually have to do this the old way, by hand. But it's a little short nut. Hold it from both sides. Yeah, there we go. I'll make the sound. Oh, getting there. Thought we had it. And like I said, save all your hardware, save all your brackets. You don't know what you're gonna need, you don't know what you're not gonna need. But if you wind up selling this column to somebody, they may need that. I think that's about it. Let's see. Oh, it's on the end. Okay, and that slides out. Look out, dipstick. There we go. All right, now, the two on the bottom, I should be able to zap those. Let's take a look. Put that up here. Break brake line out of the way. It's getting ripped out anyway. There's your bolt. There's your washer. Those up here. Later I will bag and tag all that stuff. This way you know what's what. You stay organized. Oh, that one's not too bad. There we go. It's got the bar too. Now, it should be loose. Yep. And you can see the column's already moving around. So it wants to come out. But see now this, see that spongy rubber? That's the piece under the dash. You're going to have to turn this finger up to get it through this oval hole. Let's go under the dash and remove that piece. Okay, we're back under the dash, and these Tri-5 steering columns, they have this rubber bezel around them that kind of seals the carpet to the firewall, keeps the weather out, keeps the cold out. They usually have these little push things that hold them, but these are all missing. And they have a slit up top to get them over the column and off the column. Let's see, that's 70-year-old rubber. That's why. That out. And then you'll see there's usually some type of rubber matting or whatever they call it. Jute, I think, J-U-T. Oh, knocked my light out. Let's put that back. Okay, it's coming in pieces. All right. Oh, this has got the clutch rod poking through it too. See that? So that's wrapped around that. But if you saw that stuff we had, this you could just turn out of the way like that. This is the stuff from under. There it is. Blech. That's the stuff. See that foam? Wow. 1955, some guy on the assembly line put that in there. And 70 years later, I'm taking it out. And now see, you can see the daylight coming through the firewall. And don't forget, you got to rotate this. See the piece coming up on the top? Now we should be able to slide this. You got to hit them a couple times because it's been on there a long, long time. All right. Something's holding that up from under the hood. Let me go have a look. Looks like that choke cable is between the finger and the wall. Let me go have a look. Okay, so now with these automatic ones, this piece has to come off because it's not letting the column slide through the clamp. So the clamp's going to have to be dropped down to here. So you have 2 bolts on this tab. We're going to get those out of the way. And I'm also going to take these 2 bolts out so we could drop the clamp down to here and get that in there. These look small, like a 3/8. Let me grab a socket. Okay, these are actually 7/16. Let's zip those out. Little stubbies, not that big. Okay, put those up on the firewall. All right, now the ones holding these brackets, these fingers, let's see. Those actually might be 3/8. Yep, those are 3/8. All right, so you got 7/16 in the front, 3/8 in the back. All right, let's use a little extension. Getting on or no? No? Okay, there's one. Put it up here. All right, let's turn this. There's the second one. Ooh, that's going to be a tough one. All right. I think that's out. Yep. Put that up here. See if these will come out now. I may have to take this thing out of gear. right, so that's two separate pieces. So if you push up on that, there it goes. It comes off. Now this one may just slide right over the clamp. Let's see. Yep, it does. See, that one you don't take off. That's part of it. Let's get the clamp all the way down. Oh, I got one more bolt there. Yep, sorry, didn't see that one. Let's take that one off. That one's a 7/16 in the front. Maybe. Nope. There we go. Little stubbies. All right, put that one up top here. All right, now. Okay, there we go. So that dropped down. Let's get this cable out of the way. And just make sure this is pointing up when you go to pull it through. You can see that's got to clear the hole in the firewall. All right, let's jump back in the car, and it should come off now. Let's have a look. Okay, let's make sure that piece is straight up. Here we go. Oh, this piece comes off too. This piece has just got two push clamps, like a tab, I guess you call it, that snaps it into the Speedo. And now what you're gonna see when I take this off, it's just the outer. All right, so that's center tab. Let's move this light. There you go. Okay. There's your outer column. Okay. And this piece does not come out. This is pressed in, or the steering box has got to come apart to get this inner column out. Like I said, in the past, guys have tried to cut these, but this is hardened steel, man. I wouldn't try to cut that. All right, let's take a look at that steering box, which is next. We're going to get that out, and this will come with the steering box when we take that out. All right, steering box is a little more involved. Let's glove up. Okay, so there's the bottom of your steering box with your Pitman arm. There's the end of the center link. And this was GM's setup on these cars, how they did this. It's kind of like a bowl on the end of here and a socket that had this giant grease fitting up top, because the more you grease that, the better your car steered. So when you go in for a oil change and lube, they'd be sure to grease all that up. And to get this out, the center link off, there's a cotter pin hidden in all this grease somewhere, and this cap actually screws out. So let's mess around with this thing. Looks like it hasn't been touched since new. See the cotter pin? That's the bottom. There's the top. We'll pull that out, and we'll see if that end comes off. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. All right, let's give it a try. All right, got my gloves on. Got a pair of just standard pliers. Let's see if we can bend and tap. There's so much grease on this thing. Somebody did a good job of greasing this thing, because like I said, the more grease you put in that fitting, the better your car steered. Oh, nice. Thank you. See, and that goes in that slot there. I think that thing spins. Oh, I got the wheel on this car. Let me turn it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull this wheel too to get that off. All right, bear with me 1 second. Let me get this wheel off and out of the way. Okay, so I just took the front wheel off, and the reason I had to take the front wheel off is to give myself some clearance for my chisel. We're not gonna chisel that end cap. We're just gonna unscrew it, because that unscrews this piece right here. See, now that the wheel's off, I can line this up right. And there's a spring and a plate that folds, and then you can knock this up and off to get your steering box out. So let me give this a couple taps, and what I like to do. Now, years ago, there it goes. They used to actually make a socket that slides over with the tab in it. And they actually called it a Pitman arm. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know if they called it a Pitman arm or a Centerlink socket. I can remember years ago, they used to come in a socket set. Some of the guys were doing work, you know, for themselves. But this is the way I like to do it, because if you use a screwdriver, you break it. If you use a small chisel, you wreck the plug. There's a reason they make these tools with this shape on them, so you could do stuff like this, I guess. I don't know. Is it? Put something in the comments. Is this why these chisels have this? All right. Get out of the way. Choke. Let's see what we can do by hand now. It's getting there. And I doubt this thing's ever been changed, because the low miles this car has on it. It's still got original bowl joints. It's still got all this original baloney. See that thing coming out? There's a spring in here too. Okay. That's that. There's your plug. All right, let's zip that nut a little loose and get that piece to pivot. I also got my pickle fork. Got my socket on there, my impact. Come on, man. There we go. All right, let's see. Usually the spring comes out too out of here. See this little tin piece? That's gonna come off. Let's see if this helps it. I'm going from this angle too. Nice. Okay. There we go. Tire on ends out. There we go. That knocked it loose. Okay, there we go. Is the spring. There we go. Now, if you go back that way, should come off. There's the tin piece. Yeah. Come on, Tin Man. Okay, what we're trying to do here is get this centerpiece out, but the grease kind of creates a suction. See all the grease around it that holds it in, because there's a ball around this thing that has to drop. See how loose it is now? And once I get this thing out, the Centerlink will lift right up and off. See, it's moving, but it ain't grooving. It's got to be moving and grooving. So what I'm doing, there's a hole in the center. Oh, let's get some lighting back on that. Let's put this here. Now you can't really see it now. I want you guys to see it so you can feel my pain. Maybe I should just try a magnet. Yeah, I could hear the grease. Somebody's been greasing that baby up really good, because it's like crackling when I move this. There we go, got it. All right, before I pull this apart, see the ball in there? See? That's, so you're taking the first piece out. Actually, I'm sorry. You're taking the cotter pin out. Then you're unscrewing the second piece. Then you have that piece we just took out. Actually, the spring comes out. Then we have that piece out. And there's the ball that's on your Pitman arm. And there's also this piece underneath. See, now, when I go to move the steering box and drop this out, it's going to come out. See the bowl on there? It may come up now, but the two tie rods are still connected on the other side. So it may not have enough lift in it. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Oh no, it's coming up. All right. There it goes. Okay. All right, there you go. That's the money shot right there. So see, that's off. Here's that shield. All right, that goes on there. And here's your pitman arm. So now when we take these 3 bolts out, we're all good to go. That's going to come out. So let's get started on those 3 bolts. Okay, so now we're going to take the 3 bolts out that hold the steering box and the column center shaft, which is sticking out of that box, to the frame. Word of advice, do not get down here with a giant 500 foot-pound torque impact. Break these loose. It's basically one here, one directly behind that, and one here. These are carriage bolts that go through your frame. So you don't want to make the holes weird in your frame by zipping these bolts out too hard. You know what I'm saying? And just make sure, as always, break stuff loose before you break stuff loose. Like I did with these, I just broke them loose by hand. Okay, there's our next one. Oops, sorry about that. Let me get the back one. Let me fix my camera there. All right, you see the steering box just moved, so it's pretty much ready to come out. Let me reposition my camera and we'll take this baby out. Okay, so this baby's all loose. The bolts, the nuts are off the bolts. You only have 3 holding this thing. Everything's off on the inside of the car. Let's kind of push those through. Lift the weight up off the box. You may have to tap them. It's been a while since these babies were put in there. Let's give them a little love tap with my MC hammer. This is my MC hammer. You can't touch this. There's one. And don't drop this thing on your toes. Here's your bolts. Save these. And like I said earlier, these are a carriage bolt. They have a nut, square head in the top, so they won't spin while you're taking those nuts off. So don't lose those. Put them up here. Grab the shaft. That's what she said. And here it comes. Oh yeah. Wow. So there's, thank you, steering box and shaft. Okay, so there it is, your steering box, your pitman arm, and your steering shaft. All one piece. This stuff I'm going to save. I'm going to sell it. I'm not using it, but I'm sure somebody can use it. I've already sold the headers off this car, the radiator. This will be next. Alrighty, that's it. It's out in one piece. All right, guys, so there you have it. 55, 56, I think 57. Steering box and steering column removal. Not a bad job. Good Saturday job. And the whole reason I'm taking this stuff out is I have a power steering box I'm going to put in this car. I have a tilt column that goes with the power steering box I'm going to put in this car. So I'm making things ready. The next video you're going to see is the removal of all the front suspension. All this is coming off. And originally I said it wasn't, but now I am. Going to take the engine out just because it takes about 10 seconds to pull this engine where it's sitting right now. I want to change up the rear seal on the trans. Looks like it's leaking. I can align the shifter real nice and set the 4-speed up real nice with it out. And in front of you, it's always super easy. This has the original cast iron bell housing that they used back then with the mounts. The mounts look horrible. So I got a couple fresh mounts. Summit Racing actually has them in stock. So got those. I got new rubber isolators for the front, the engine mounts. Those are going to get changed as well. I'm going to paint the motor up nice while it's out. And the main reason I want to pull it out is once the front suspension's off, I'm going to detail the firewall, detail the frame, and then start putting all the new stuff back on. Then I could run new brake lines, put my dual pot master cylinder, put a new wiper motor in it, get everything all ready to go. All the wiring is going to come out. So, man, there's a lot of videos to come on this car. Every part of this car's build is going to be documented. And if you watch them from start to finish, you're going to learn something. I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be. I'm just a guy that's been doing this since I'm a little kid. So I know things. You could learn things. I could learn things. Like I said, I'm not an expert. Guys, you have been incredible with all the cool comments you've left and going to our website. Everybody's been ordering stuff, leaving us great comments. We love it. We love it. Ordering more. If you haven't checked out our website, racecityretro.com, you don't know what you're missing. We have over 1,000 automotive products, some of the coolest stuff you're ever going to see. We do stuff that nobody does, which is cool. You want to be different. You don't want to be the same old. Join that crowd, the TV guy crowd. Be unique. Wear something cool. Wear something original. And thank you so much for watching today. I can't say it enough. I hope you liked my Halloween decorations. I've yet to show Racy Tracy. I'm a little worried about that. I was going to video it, but I didn't want to get this video in trouble for some bad words, bad language. But appreciate you giving me your input. Let me know what you think about my Halloween decorations. Did I do a good job? Is she going to be happy? I like them. I could already hear kids screaming in the front, so they must be working. Sounds cool. Thank you so much, guys. Be sure to subscribe. We need subscribers. We're new here. Be sure to like, share, tell your buddies about us. Take care now, guys. Stay safe.